In today's episode, I interviewed Ola, the founder of Sisters in Media. We talked balancing her 9 to 5 and her 5 to 9, why she started Sisters in Media, and her tips to network within the industry. Get ready to have your cup poured into. Hi, Ola. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
So the first question I wanted to ask you is, who is Ola? Where do you come from, and how did you get to where you are today?
Wow, who's Ola? That's the first. I love that question. Well, who am I? I am a 27-year-old media professional who is God-fearing and loves her friends, loves her family, and really has a passion for entertainment and media. I started my career in NBC Universal when I graduated at Newhouse, the School of Communications at Syracuse University, and from NBC, I went to Fox Searchlight, which is the sister company to 20th Century Fox, and I was doing film publicity there, and that became really the start of me building Sisters in Media, which is my org for women of color in media, and the purpose is to create an environment for women of color that are interested in the media and entertainment field, and for them to be able to have a resource and a network of other women in the industry. And yeah, through that org, I've been planning tons of events, from Twitter to Facebook to A&E to Refinery 29. We've been building out some really cool events for women of color who are really interested in the industry. And now I am still doing that, and I'm also working full-time at Twitter.
And what do you do? What do you do exactly at Twitter?
At Twitter, I'm on the events team, so I curate events for any internal, anything internal. So it could be like a client, or it could be like a VIP, which is our very important tweet. So any celebrities on the platform, we will do like events for them within our office. It could be with our business research group. So it could be like a diversity and inclusion recruitment event or a Twitter Blackbirds event. So I do all events that are based internally at Twitter.
Okay. So your organization, Sisters in Media, what led you to start the organization?
So I love telling this story because it's so, I feel like it's so relatable. So I started the organization because I just felt like I didn't see a lot of women of color that were exec or C-suite level in my surroundings. And I really craved mentorship. I really craved a community of women who looked like me, who would also encourage me in the industry, because it's really tough. Like, entertainment is no joke. And I just felt like there was a lack in that. And then I also, I would never forget, I was interning, and we hired an intern, and I was working, and we hired an intern, and we had to resend that invitation because they wanted us to hire someone that was related to the EVP at the time. And I mean, that's something that I would totally do, by God's grace, if I'm an EVP or a president or, big time CEO, if my child wants an opportunity, I would love to give it to her. But that's kind of like how it goes in our industry. It's about who you know, it's about the connections you can make. And I just felt bad about the intern that they had to resend the invitation to, because this poor young lady or man, didn't realize, wow, like, this was taken from me because someone else was related to someone within the company. And that's what it's like a lot. And I just felt, imagine the Black woman who is dying to be in the industry and has zero connection, has all the passion, no connection. And I just was like, see, this is what I mean. And that's what I hope Sisters in Media can be. I hope that it can fill that void, and it could be that exec. It could be that manager or director that is linking other women to internships, to interviews, to hopefully job opportunities. Because, there's a little lack of us, and we need as much help as we can get, at least from each other.
I like that. So how long has your organization been around?
So it's been around since 2016. May 2016 is when I birthed my baby. Susan Media. And we're still going. So hopefully we can be around for a lot many more years.
So from when you started your organization to now, and remembering like this story that you just told and like the goal and the mission of it, how has feedback been hearing how people have maybe been able to land a job because they network with someone at your event, or maybe just make that connection that could lead to a job, or just making a connection in general?
So with the question, how has the organization helped others?
Yes, like members or attendees who attend your events are members of the org.
Yeah. So since starting the org, we've done a lot of events that are just discussion pieces. But more recently, in May, we did an event with A&E Network, which owns Lifetime and History Channel and more. And it was a recruiting and diversity and inclusion event. So all of our panelists were recruiters from various companies, from HBO to Spotify to A&E, of course, to Viacom and History. And Discovery. So we chose all of these people of color who are in the recruiting space to come and talk to a whole bunch of women who are looking and seeking employment. And from that event, I think it helped a ton of people. I mean, they made connections with all of these recruiters and hiring managers that were within the event, and it definitely led into interviews. And I have not heard anything about a job offer, but it led to, I know for sure that it led to interviews, and it led to mentors and mentee relationships, which is exactly what we want. We want you to be able to feel like you could come to our event and walk away with something tangible, like an interview process, like a job offer, like an internship opportunity, and relationship building. And that is for sure what people took away, I believe, from my event on recruiting. So yeah, I think it's really important for me and for the org in itself to, create and curate more events like this so that we can have tangible results about people actually getting offers, people actually meeting with HR, meeting with recruiters, meeting with hiring managers, the people who matter when it comes to the hiring process.
Having this org and working like your full 9-to-5 job, what are like challenges you face, whether it be like work-life balance, spending time with your family and friends, self-care? How do you keep yourself like at balance?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I feel like it is tough sometimes, but you figure it out. So I, at first, was very much like, okay, I need to focus on the job that I'm in right now, which is true. Because, at the end of the day, whatever company I'm tied to, they're the ones paying me. So I need to focus on that one first, and then Sisters in Media second. And I found that it definitely beneficial to me, because I really feel like, you owe it to your employer to give them your 100% self. So it worked out for me. And I would do this thing, and I would call it, listen, this is my 9 to 5. And then at 5 o'clock, I'm going to do my 5 to 9, which is Sisters in Media. During the day, my current employer has all my attention. And during the evening, I am answering emails for Sisters in Media. I'm putting together proposals for future events. I'm making sure that our current partners are inclusive of whatever we're doing. And I'm making sure that I'm sending out emails to our membership. So yeah, 5 to 9 is where you get all of your energy and time to focus on your passion. And then 9 to 5 is when I'm focusing on my current job and making sure that they have all of me. Because you just definitely don't want to make, your whatever company you're working for unhappy. And as you get older, and I remember Amani said this, and Amani is the current founder of the Creative Collective NYC, which also created CultureCon, which everyone knows and is huge. And when you grow in your career and you find yourself dedicated to one employer, and you've made a good name for yourself within that company, you'll have the freedom to be able to be flexible with your schedule. There's going to be a time where you can leave at 12 o'clock to a meeting for your personal organization or brand or company. You can leave at 2 o'clock for a call because I trust that you'll get the job done within the company. And I think that that's something that I'm going to try to build with my current employer as well.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Side conversation, but I didn't even know she said that. That's really good information to know.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and I will say that she's got an upper hand because she's also director level, number one, and the higher you get, the more freedom you've got.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, she's been at the company since she graduated college. So NBC is all, they know her, and she knows them very, very well because of the amount of years that she's put into that place. So I feel like, the more you dedicate to your company and they see like, hey, like I'm giving you all of me, but just so you know, I've still got this thing going on. And they respect you and they respect your project and your passion, then you're in good hands.
And what is your end goal with Sisters in Media? Obviously, you want to build connections between maybe the college graduate or the current student or just anyone looking to get more exposure in the media field. But what is your end goal with the brand, but also with you within the brand?
My end goal with the brand. So my hope is that the company can get big enough for people to, once again, I need everyone to be a part of this organization that are looking for work, not only looking for employment in the industry, but looking for connection and networking and just having a resource of supporters. That's number one. Number two, I want the company to expand. Right now, we're just focusing on New Yorkers, people who are native, not native, but people who are local. I wanted to be able to take it to LA, take it to Atlanta, to eventually take it international, because media is growing like crazy in Nigeria. Media is growing in the Latinx communities, and I wanted to be able to get global. So that's really my hope for the org, and hopefully it can be something that's big enough that would allow another type of community to want to join. I want men to want to be a part of Sisters in Media. I want, Asian women and white women and Latinx women, because right now we're 90%, we're 95% African American or Black. So I love it. I love us, but I want it to expand, and I hope that it can do that in the next few years.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I was gonna ask you, are men able to join the organization? Just because I know.
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead. Yeah, just because I know there's so many organizations for women, which I love, because we as women, and especially as women in color, we need that exposure, and we need to learn like how to like negotiate our pay and how to like grow within the company. But I feel like oftentimes we like are kind of forgetting about the males sometimes and like just making them feel inclusive. But I'm happy to know that they are able to like still be a part of it and everything.
Yeah, definitely. I want men to want to join. Like I've had some men come to my events. I had some men. Actually, it was a few guys that came to our Facebook event, which was awesome.
That's good.
So yeah, like I had a few guys come to that. But yeah, no, I want guys to want to come. I mean, I'm having an event that's I'm probably gonna announce at the end of this week. And I think a lot of guys are going to be interested in that. So stay tuned.
Okay, so how do you stay open to new opportunities yet set boundaries on what you embark in within your organization?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
How do you stay open to new opportunities? So say if someone wants to partner with you, but maybe it doesn't fit the vision of your brand. How do you stay open to new opportunities and like set boundaries on like what you will embark in? Like making sure you're still staying within the vision and you're not like falling off of it.
That's a really great question because I find that to be one of the difficult areas that I'm in right now with the brand. Because we get a lot of like new and startups that come up to us and say, "Hey, we want to partner with you about this." And I think it's great because we're technically we're a startup too, for sure. We're new. We're only 3 years old, and that's not enough to feel like we've got everything on lock. And I'm always open to seeing what other people want to offer and what we can offer them. Because listen, we're both trying to build something for probably the same community. So in that case, I'm open to having the discussion, but if I feel like the programming that we're doing already that year is enough, and once again, it's me handling this and my full-time job, I'm not going to take it on. If I feel like it doesn't really align with what we're doing, or it doesn't really bring any purpose, or not any purpose, it doesn't have a new perspective. It doesn't have a new thing that's gonna help my audience, because at the end of the day, you know, I've done that already. Or I'm like, oh, we've done that already. So why do that again? I'm trying to do new programming for the people who have been following Sisters in Media. I don't want it to be a repeat with a different name attached to it. So if it's like that, then I probably wouldn't go for it. But if it's completely different, if it's an awesome proposal that they send over and it's different, it's new, and it's going to be beneficial to the people who are attending, I'll be behind it.
And going off of that example that you gave, and this ties into one of the questions that I have, is how do you suggest people to network? I know that you said you started Sisters in Media so that way people can network and know more people, but from events that I've attended, one theme that I see a common theme is network. Get the person's phone number next to you. Make sure you keep in contact with them. If you see someone and you want to work with them, pitch them your idea. But I feel like, especially you, if someone, in my opinion, you're someone who is higher than me, just because I feel like you have this org. And I know you said it's only 3 years old, but to me, that's a big deal. If I'm someone who wants to come with you and let's say I want to put on an organization, not an organization, but a partnership or an event, what is the proper way or the best way you feel that someone should approach a situation to network smart, and also not make it feel like you're using the person or you're wasting their time?
Well, because networking goes 2 ways. And I think what sometimes we get in trouble with is we feel like networking is what that person can do for me. But it's also what you can do for that person. Like, just because you're connecting with someone who's a CEO and you're fresh out of college does not mean that you won't have any value to their life. Like, recently, this is a really good example. When I was a student at Syracuse, I remember being infatuated with the film industry. I mean, I started a whole film blog. I really wanted to be working for a studio when I graduated college. So my senior year, I connected with, at the time he was a white male, but he was a Syracuse alum, and he was working at 20th Century Fox. And before that, he was working at Paramount. And I believe he had worked with like Warner Brothers. So he literally had the accolades. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, like I really want you to come to Syracuse and do a conversation at Newhouse and talk to all of like the communication, PR, broadcast journalists, television, radio, film students about your career. And I also want to work with you. because I'm graduating this year and I need a job and I would love to work for 20th Century Fox. So I remember telling him, like, please come, like, I'll do whatever. I'll try to talk to, like, our new house leads to make sure that they pay for you to fly out here from LA because he's in LA and Syracuse is Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how it happened. God be the glory. It worked. And he came and he did a talk and we had lunch and he goes, one day I'm going to be working for you. And I was like, what? I want to be working for you. Like, he was just impressed with how I got him out there. Fast forward to today, me and him, we reconnected because he's great. We stay in touch at least once a year. And he reconnected and he just wanted to see opportunities at Twitter because he's looking to transition from film to tech. And I'm at Twitter and he sees that I'm at Twitter on LinkedIn and he's like, whoa, like, we need to connect because I'm trying to make a transition to a company like Twitter or Facebook and Google or YouTube. And so we had lunch and he's like, wow, do you remember when you were a senior and I told you I'm going to be working for you one day? And like, now look at me trying to reconnect with you because I want to work where you are. And it's just crazy how at the time I was like, there's never going to be a day where you're going to be me. I need you. I'm 22-year-old who really wants to work in film and you've got over 10 plus years of experience. So I just, the point of that story is like, you are not just not working for yourself and thinking about what they can do for you. You're thinking about what also you can do for them. Like, this is a business partnership. Like, what are you getting out of it? You're going to get me. And I'm the most hardworking person you'll meet. At least convince them that you are. And you're going to need me one day. Like, you never know where you're going to end up. Like, people get fired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There are layoffs all the time. And it doesn't discriminate on age and level. It does not. CEOs, SVPs, EVPs, they get fired all the time. And vice versa. So there's going to be a time where, a VP is going to be looking for other opportunities and they might be reaching out to you and you're just a coordinator or a manager. Like, it is possible. So these relationships are not just there's not one way. Like, they're two-way. Like, you have to make sure that you're also that they're also getting something out of it, not just you.
Wow. Thank you for that story. I've never looked at it from that way, but now you've given me like a different perspective. And
oh yeah, no, it's enlightening because I still feel like there's like I still need to, like, you have those connects. Like,
yeah.
You really never know. Like, you really, really never know. And you also don't know who I know who may need to be connected to. Like, it's just, networking is also natural. Like, you don't want to be like, hey, I'm going to pick your brain. I feel like people hate when people say that. In a panel, Nikki Oguneke, who is a former, like, a director at Elle.com, she goes, please don't tell me you want to pick my brain. She, like, hates that. Be smart about it. Like, if you know you're coming to a Sisters in Media event and you really like the panel lineup and you want to talk to someone there because they're, they're working at Apple Music and you really want to be in Apple Music, I'm like, okay, I need to connect with this person. So what you do, if you do research, you read their articles. And you go up to them like, hey, I read this one article about you, doing this campaign, and I thought it was so enlightening. What made you decide to do that? Can I, like, grab coffee with you? And they're going to be impressed. Like, oh, you read up on my article? Like, oh, you read up on that? Like, that's impressive. So I think that's the stuff that makes you stand out when you are going to networking events and you want to connect with someone who you admire their career trajectory and you admire the path that they've been on, professionally. So yeah, just be very unique and authentic and do your research. That would be my number one takeaway.
Do your research. That's definitely something that I hear a lot as well. Don't just go up to people just because you hear a name. The person who may not even have like the big name or may not be as well known may just have as much connections as the person with the big name.
So
Yeah.
definitely. What were challenges you faced with starting your brand and also like just continuing to keep it going the past few years?
I think the challenges I probably faced were, how do I make what I do next different from what I did last week? Like, how do I make it different? How do I convince? I think nowadays I've been really blessed and lucky to have an easy experience pitching. Like, if I want to work with a company, I normally can do it. Like, it's been a blessing. Like, I don't know what, like, any company I think of and they have the bandwidth, it's usually easy. It's usually a yes. So the partnership isn't really the tough part. The tough part is, how do I make it unique? How do I monetize it? How do I make sure that we expand? How do I build a team? Because right now it's literally a team of 2. So it's a lot of figuring out how we can make it bigger than what it is, and how can we reach people who we haven't been reaching, and how can we make sure we have tangible results, and we know, like, okay, from this event, 5 people got hired, so we can be able to have metrics like, hey, from this is a media event, and you're, 20% chance of, likelihood of getting hired at this type of company increases. Like, those are the things that I want to come out from my event. So that's what I'm working on, and hopefully we'll figure it out.
So you said that you don't want to create the same type of events, but the one event that I attended, the Make Them First Move, I thought that was a great event, and I would love to have gone to like that event again, even if it was just different panelists. Keep the same moderator, but different panelists. But what do you mean by that? Like, would you not do an event like that, or would you like switch to topics?
I think I probably would switch the topic.
Okay.
I would do the style again. Like, I would definitely do a larger panel and then do like breakout sessions so you can get one-on-one time with the expert. I would definitely do that again if the opportunity presents itself. And, thank you for saying that, because I have been getting really great feedback from it. So I probably will or should do it again since it did so well. But yeah, I don't want, like, I've repeated the same panelists actually twice because I just love these ladies. But I don't want it to be like, I haven't repeated an event with the same brand before. And that's something that I'm not that interested in. But I may consider it since, if something's not working, like, why go at it? If people enjoyed the Facebook event, why not? And if I enjoyed working with the Facebook partners, why not? If people enjoyed Refinery 29 Unbothered, why not? Like, they have the space, they have the means, and we have the audience. Let's do it again. So I would do that again. I just don't want it to be so nearby. Like, it's gonna probably be a while before you hear me going back to something that I've done already.
I see. I do get where you're coming from, because there's 2 sides to each. There's 2 ways, I guess, of going about it, which you said both. Like, if it's not broke, why fix it? And also, like, you don't want to, like, I guess, be repetitive, and like people who have attended all the events say, oh, this is just like the last event, or maybe they're even comparing the now event to the last event, saying, oh, all they did was switch up this, or they didn't switch up anything, this is a waste, and then you lose like audience participation. But either way, I still thought your Facebook event was my first event I attended, and I have to say that was one of the best events I ever attended in a while. I think I think the way everything was set up was amazing. I didn't get the goodies at first, which wasn't even like a big downer for me, but like the way the food was set up, that was great. And then going inside the event space, everything was like spacious. The breakout session was even like amazing. I don't remember the person who led my breakout session, but I know the girl from Bumble, I can't remember her name.
Her name is
Shanti. So she was really, really good. And she even let, I guess, her coworker who was there with her, I guess, for either moral support, she even let her be a part of the session. And I think just having both the perspectives and then hearing like an array of people who were like either still in college, just graduated, who have been out for 10 years. Like I was amazed by like the age range of your event. And that's something that makes me happy. Like it makes me feel like, okay, I don't have to have it all figured out. And even like the example you gave earlier with the guy who's now reaching back out to you to see about a job opportunity, it lets me know like I can also like switch my careers at any time, and I don't have to be at a company for 20 years or until the day I retire.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. That
makes me
so thrilled when people really enjoy what we're doing and feel like you've taken something away. I feel like I can go to sleep and be like, well, it's not for nothing. Like all this stress.
It's not, trust me.
It does sound good.
Yeah, I kept hearing so many amazing things about your events, and I'm like, okay, I have to go to the next one. And finally you posted one. And I'm like, okay, I'm going, I'm signing up. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to make sure I'm there. So it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. And we're going to keep trying to do more of that. Like I'm already planning what we're going to do for 2020 and, you know, all the projects that I feel like would be so dope. Hopefully all of them, you know, get greenlit and we can start planning like the logistics and the details, but it's looking like a good 2020. So hopefully knock on wood, it's amazing. But yeah, we just want that same energy in everything that we do, whatever it is that you enjoyed from Facebook. You know, the moderators, just the women, the people involved, the food. You know, we want the experience to be 100 for everyone who's in attendance. So we're going to try to keep that same energy in 2020 and for the rest of our existence, hopefully.
Yes, please. So I know you kind of touched on a bit that you keep your 9 to 5 separate from your 5 to 9, but what is a week in a life like for you, working your 9 to 5, your 5 to 9, and also like just fitting in any self-care, mental health for hanging out or spending time with friends and family?
It's actually great. I'm really blessed. Like I make it a point to go to church every Sunday. I try my best to you know, spend as much time with my friends and family on the weekends. But during the week, I really try to stay focused. But it's not like I'm not overwhelmed. Like I would still go to the gym if I can. If I don't have an event for work, I'm going to the gym. Like, I mean, I still catch up my shows. I watch too much TV. So I still make it a point to, you know, take care of myself. I literally this weekend was just about like Friday and Saturday. Nails, hair, like everything needed to get done. But today is all about like, okay, errands. You know, I've got to like take care of my home and my setting, but I also need to do social media work. So I mean, and I'm binging Top Boy right now. So like, I do think that I'm blessed with I don't know, like I feel like I know how to balance a lot. I'm telling you that job at Fox Searchlight helped me to balance multiple things at once. That was probably the hardest job I've ever had. But it helped because now I know how to juggle so much. Know how to deal with, you know, pressure from work and still deal with, you know, items to do for social media. I still know how to handle things about my personal life and maybe try to go to therapy. Like, I'm figuring it out. And I think so far I'm okay. I don't feel like I'm underwater. So, so far so good.
Yes, to therapy. That is definitely next on one of the things that I want to bring into my self-care journey. So I commend you. So I wanted to ask, switching gears up just a little bit, what are some tips, like going back to social media and your time at Twitter, what are some tips that you have? Or actually, wait, now I remember. I thought of a question from what you just said. So you said that you learned like balancing tips. What are some tips you can give? Because I definitely need help with that. I know right now I'm like trying to schedule everything and I have everything like color coded in my calendar and just trying not to face burnout and things like that. So what are tips you can give to people who are in college, not in college, who have the 9 to 5, who's trying to build the 5 to 9, and even not even tips like tips about like organizing your schedule, but also like trying not to be too much on the scene. Like, yes, go to conferences, yes, go out with your friends, but realize like maybe sometimes you may need to like stay at home and get work done for what you want your future to look like. So if that makes any sense, can you ask that question?
That does.
Okay.
That's a great question. I think I read something somewhere. Have you heard of the Harlem Capital?
No, I don't think so. No.
Look them up. They're killing it. Like, they're these Black young millennial men who started a company to help Black owners. So, like, they do funding for, Black people who are looking to start their own businesses. They've been on, like, Forbes. They're killing it. I think I read somewhere that the founder of that said, like, if you don't have time for fun, if you don't make time for yourself, then you're not going to be successful. He said something like that. I don't want to quote him. But it was like, if I would paraphrase it, it was something like that. I think it's so important that you make time for yourself. And I actually was talking to my sister about this. When you are so stressed and overwhelmed and you feel like you can't take a breather or a break, it creates an environment for yourself where creative work is not going to be done. That is just point, period, and blank. That's why when you go to companies that are extremely successful, like the Googles of the world, you see them on bikes. You see them playing games. We have at Twitter we have a game room. During lunch, I see like a group of people always like playing in those game rooms, like playing. And we're all 20, 30, 40 something, 50 something year old professionals. And they have off time. And I think that off time allows you to be creative, allows you to give your mind some space to think about the things that you normally would think about when you're not doing anything. When you're focused and you're too overwhelmed and you are working nonstop and you don't get no break, I don't think you're going to produce the best work. I feel like the best ideas and the most productive time is when you have time to yourself and you're taking care of yourself. And then when you realize, like, oh, like, as I'm getting my nails done, I swear to you, an idea came to me yesterday when I was doing my nails. I was just like, ooh, I know what I need to do for Sisters in Media. And a great idea came. I wasn't working. I was just getting powder gel nails. And I was just like, I decided on the color. As she was doing my nails, I'm like, oh, it just came to me. So I feel like when you just spend time on taking care of yourself, not only obviously put the work in, be hardworking. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate lazy people, and I hate lazy people who expect the world. Like, no, work hard and put effort into whatever business or whatever plan or whatever career or education you're going after. But also take some time. Go get your hair done. Go, get waxed. I mean, I don't know, like, go watch a movie. Like, take care of yourself and give yourself that time to breathe and to have, like, freedom in your head. And then a good idea is going to come.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I think, I don't know, this is my personal opinion. I definitely agree with everything you just said because I can definitely see everything you just said in myself where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I need to make money. I need to make this happen. All this needs to be, I just want everything to fall into place. And I think for me, it stems from like social media. I get like so fear, like I get that FOMO, like fear of missing out. Like I'm not where I'm supposed to be in life. Like I should be further along, or, oh my God, I had that same idea, but I didn't make it happen. And there's so many other reasons why that didn't happen. But I agree with you when I'm in moments of when I would get like braids put in my hair, that's like 4 or 5 hours. I'm sitting there and I'm learning to like take a notebook with me because while I'm sitting there, literally ideas would just be popping up in my head like, ooh, what about this? What about that? And even if it's not something for me, it could be something for me to give to someone else. Like maybe it's the answer to their question. But I definitely agree, like in moments of like fun or just disbelief, or not disbelief, but when I'm just like at a moment of like calm and just like peace and having fun is when everything seems to fall into place versus when like I pressure myself, like I have to figure this out by the end of the day today, or I just can't do this any further. So yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like really just watch yourself. Watch yourself take a break and see how refreshed you feel. Like, see how much better you feel, and see how when you get back to work, you've got the capacity and the energy to do it because you took that break. So no, I think that's so important.
That's so true. Okay, now on to my next question that I was going to ask. What are tips that you have to students who are in college, are just finishing college, and even people who are in the field that want to switch to media? What are tips that you have to them to getting into the media field?
Yeah, I would say, and I've been saying this to so many people, like, be best friends with LinkedIn. Be best friends with LinkedIn. Like, I need you to always be on alert for job openings, number one. But number two, make connections and make sure you're doing those internships that you feel are going to be a good gateway to whatever career you want to go to. It's so important that you are connecting with people from your college because that's the one thing you have. You know, unfortunately, when you're a college, recently college grad, you don't really have that much to offer, which is not your fault. Obviously, everyone has to start somewhere. But utilize your networks, and your network at that point is your college. So the alumni database, tap into that. Tap into your professors and your mentors at your university or your college and see who they know. And make those relationships while you're still a student, so that when you graduate and you're continuing those relationships, it feels a little bit more genuine. And make sure your LinkedIn is up to date. Make sure that you are following the right companies and you are updating it constantly. LinkedIn, let me tell you, LinkedIn has gotten so many people hired, gotten so many hiring managers, not face-to-face literally, but it's got so many people access to qualified candidates. And it could be you if you are, making sure that you present yourself the way that would work for a company.
So my last question before I ask my final question, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to say to anyone listening?
Great question. I feel like I just want people to know that I have true passion for what I'm doing, and I love what I'm doing, and I hope that anyone listening who is seeking to start something of their own, that they just follow their heart. I know it sounds so cheesy, but, really go through with it. I feel like it's hard to start something because you just are like, well, where do I go from here? You just got to do it. You just have to do the first step, and then everything else will be easier. Just making sure you do what you say you want to do, you'll just feel a little bit more fulfilled. I remember I had been talking, I was reading my old journals, and I saw, I really want to start something, and I don't know how, but I want to start it. One day I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, pitch to my university so that they can fund it. And so I just came up with a proposal on my downtime, and I pitched Sisters of Media to Syracuse University. So just make that first step, and everything will fall into the right places, the right pieces. So that's what I want people to really take away, and have fun while you're doing it, because it is kind of fun. It's super cool having ownership of something that is completely yours, and you get to decide the future you have for it, you want for it. It's not like working at a company, which is so great, where you're following a leadership, you're following not orders, but direction from higher up. This is all yours. So you get to, if you don't want it to go in that direction, it does not have to, because you own it. You're the boss. So whatever's in your heart, go for it. And if it's meant to be, it will be successful. You just gotta be patient.
Thank you for that. My last question is your cup half empty or half full?
It is half full.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you for thinking of me. I really appreciate this.
Of course. The last thing I promise I'm going to ask you is, if people want to stay in contact with you, what is your personal branding, and also what's the Sisters in Media branding for them to follow that as well?
Yeah, so you guys can just follow Sisters in Media at Sisters in Media on Instagram and Twitter. We're also on Facebook. On Facebook, we're Sisters in Media NYC. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Ola, O-L-A, __Idowu, IDOWU. And on Instagram is at Ola _1_ Idowu, IDOWU. So feel free. I'm not gonna bite. Send your DMs if you want to, and feel free to ask me any questions. I'm really happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It was a great one.
No, thank you so much for having me. Have a blessed day.
Can't wait until the next episode to get your cup filled? Follow us on our social media platform for daily inspiration at Pour Into My Cup on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Or check out our blog and services at www.pourintomycup.org. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to stay updated when new episodes are released. Leave a review and pour into someone else's cup by sharing the podcast. And I have to ask, is your cup half empty or half full? Peace, love, happiness. Rashiba, signing off.